This is a sound meditation by my partner. Let me start again.
Sure.
This is Ruth Anderson's sound portrait, hearing a person. In a darkened room, find a comfortable, totally relaxed position. Listen to a piece of music. Think of someone you love. Do not think of the music. When you find your thought of the person is gone, bring it back gently. Let other thoughts come and then let them go. As the music progresses, let the thought image of the person be central. Be unaware of the music.
You don't often think of composers as listeners, but she has lived her life as a listener who shows others what can happen if you listen with a kind of attention, with a kind of detail, with a kind of patience. I think there's something kind of audacious in insisting that we listen to a single piece of glass, or insisting that we listen to a single location on the trajectory of a river. That we listen to a piano burning. I'll go ahead and read the first 3 paragraphs of my Times feature on Annea Lockwood. Go to a River begins the text score for Annea Lockwood's Water Meditations from 1973. It's not the typical instruction one expects from a musical score, but it is characteristic of Miss Lockwood, who for decades has studied how sound can have visceral and profound effects on attentive, listening bodies. A composer of audacious experimental works on the border of musical performance and conceptual art, including exploratory... A composer...
A little bit more. More in frame? Yeah.
Yes. Actually, I do see the cable coming around the couch.
I like talking to you.
All right.
Yeah.
Sean, you ready? You're good?
I'm good, yeah.
Okay.
We're in the kitchen of my house in Crampon, New York, which is a suburb up in northern Westchester.
Is this a special spot?
The kitchen, I love to be in the kitchen. I prop my laptop up on the table and check it every so often and spread the Times out on the table and surround myself with coffee cups, yes. It's a beautiful spot because I can look back out the back of the house at just trees.
Have you lived here for a long time?
Since 76.
That's a long time.
We found a house that was really comfortable, thoroughly affordable, really comfortable, and a pleasure to live in with great neighbors, so we just stayed put. Nice. Yarn Wire is a remarkable quartet, and they asked me to, they commissioned a piece from me, so I suggested that we do a fully collaborative composition, compose a piece together. The bowls don't all start resonating at the same time. I mean, some of them are a little slow, they need to warm up and so on, so those tones sort of filter in.
Yeah.
I love those, and they work beautifully with what you're doing at that point.
Really well when your skin is very dry.
Like now.
We're high. I'm doing this.
It's just more resonant.
So I brought a sort of basic possible structure, we pushed it around, we started embodying it, just composing basically from scratch together. It's a lovely way to make contact with young artists, young musicians, young composers, young sound artists. I love that.
I was curious about this, Annea, because when I interviewed you over the phone, I asked you if you were listening to music, and you said no, because it was too intense.
Yeah.
But you said you are going out on your deck and listening to the world.
Yeah.
I love that image. I thought that was very moving, and so that's why I wanted to film you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's taken a while for me to come back to listening to music because it moves me far too much, because it's so intrinsically associated with our life together. And Ruth died in November of last year, so it's been a process of learning what that means. And music just gets to me so fast. So
Who was Ruth?
it's Ruth Anderson, a composer. She was my spouse. We were married for 46 years. Beautiful composer, electronic music, but also collages. It's been a good life. We had such a rich life together. Lucky. I was lucky.
Surely one of the most remarkable composers in the world is Annea Lockwood. On this program, I hope to give you an insight into her inquisitive nature, which has resulted in numerous remarkable compositions. I asked the composer about her recent work, Glass Concert. The music is played on numerous different types and shapes of glass. Lockwood says, "I have treated each sound as if it were a piece of music in itself. For me, every sound has its own minute form, is composed of small, flashing rhythms."
Miss Lockwood, this is only a rehearsal. What's the real thing going to be like?
Much bigger scale. We've got a fairly deep theatre stage on which to set up 10 events for each half of the program, 10 different structures.
Has this sort of thing been done before?
No, I think glass has been broken in various other theatrical performances, but this is all glass.
Well, Miss Lockwood, I'll leave you to your music.
Based on the BBC story and other things, it seems like this really got a lot of attention, that this sort of put her on the map in some weird way. Is that your sense of it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard to know what did it. Was it the album? Was it the touring? She did dozens of concerts, so it's very well maybe the touring. Was it the score that was published in Source magazine? What I do know is that she has remarked that this is one of the most kind of pivotal pieces in her entire that it changed kind of her approach to listening.
I like playing, right? I don't mean playing an instrument, I mean playing, which is one of the things that drew me so strongly to Ruth. She was very playful. She knew how to play. I like playing. So then I wanted to play with pianos and play some in unlikely situations and watch the processes through which they would go. Garbage collectors had a particular area of London, I don't recall which now, where they would just dump pianos that people wanted to get rid of. You know, everybody's grandmother's or grandfather's piano from the parlour. We rescued, so to speak, we rescued a couple of pianos from the graveyard and then went ahead and burned them on the Chelsea embankment. I thought if we can just over string the strings, you know, so that they maybe pop, and that would be a great sound. Besides, the whole thing would sound wonderful. And then, shortly after doing piano burning, around 1970, I was living in the countryside, essentially, in England. And it occurred to me that it would be fascinating to watch a plant like a daffodil sort of gradually forcing its way through the interstices of a piano. And pianos are so strongly structured that the contrast, you know, between the fragility of the plant, apparent fragility of the plant, and the apparent indomitable strength, so to speak, of the piano would be a lovely thing to watch. So I decided I wanted to plant pianos in the garden.
The Piano Transplant series includes multiple different works: piano burning, piano garden, but there's also the piano drowning, where a piano sinks very slowly into water, into a pond. And part of it is like an installation. Part of it is what she's called a kind of fascination in surrealist juxtapositions, like just seeing a piano outside is weird. And part of it is funny, and there's a kind of humor to the kind of surrealism. So yeah, it's a fascinating series, and people do it quite frequently.
Then I needed a job, and I went to the Hudson River Museum and the personnel department, and asked if they could possibly employ me in any capacity. And the woman I was talking to just laughed, and she said, "You're an artist. Why don't you make a proposal to us? We couldn't find a position for you as a job for you. Your job is making work, make a proposal. So I looked out at the Hudson River. The museum is right opposite the Palisades, looks right across the river, and it occurred to me that I'd never recorded an entire river and how absolutely fascinating it would be to track a river all the way downstream. And I proposed it to her, and they worked with me on it, bless their hearts, and I did the sound map of the Hudson.
And then later you did the Danube.
Oh, that was fun. That was challenging and wonderful. Yeah. And then eventually the Housatonic, a beautiful little river, right, flowing down from Massachusetts to Long Island Sound. It's centrally important to me that I find a way to draw people's whole beings inside the sounds that I'm giving them, handing to them, right? To draw people right inside the river. Not only because the body is nourished, I think our bodies and minds are nourished by water sound, but I began to feel eventually that when you're able to move your whole body inside a sound, you're making a very direct connection to the phenomenon which is creating that sound, and that the depth of our sense of connection to the environmental world is crucial. So through sound, I've been thinking more and more that sound is a wonderful medium through which to come to a sense, a whole body sense of that connectivity between us and the rest of the world.
So basically, just what are you doing?
I'm listening to a whole other world down there. I mean, when I first put a hydrophone into a river, which was the Danube, I was astonished by how much was happening there and how much was totally inaudible at the surface. Or another way of thinking about it is how very different the surface world of a river is from the underwater world of a river, and how rich that underwater world was. It was astounding. Whether it was aquatic insects, bugs, fish that I was hearing, or whether it was just the play of the currents underwater, which are delicious. They make the most beautiful sounds. I always say they have lovely phrasing. They do. They're musical. I'd love Sean to listen to something if he's able to.
Yeah?
Can you take a break and listen to something? There's
Keep
this
rolling, Sean.
really wild little fluttering sound going on down there, and I can't begin to think what it is.
Wow. You've never heard that?
No?
Annea, I have a question for you. What are you hearing?
There's a different sound, pitched about an octave higher than la, coming from over there, and it sounds like a solitary insect, solitary singer. It's really nice, just every so often.
You must have sat out here and listened a million times.
Oh yeah. Ruth and I would come out here about 5 o'clock, and I'd pour a beer, and we'd sit out here, just talk or read something together or for a couple of hours. I love it's my favorite time of day, dusk. Has been for forever.